Welcome everyone back to the Pommy and Oz channel. Hope we're all doing absolutely awesome Easter Monday. You're having a long weekend. Hope you're spending time with friends, family, but more importantly, looking after yourself. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's around 41% of people are watching right now who aren't subscribed. So all you've got to do is go there, click that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. We've set ourselves a huge goal of hitting 10K by the end of the year. So if you can help me do that, we do Carlton, AFL, just about anything here. We have a bit of fun, weekly live streams. We've got the members live stream coming up next week. If you want to become a member, link is in the description. But if you can give me a like and a subscribe, I'll love you forever. That'll be your Easter gift to this Pom. And we're here to talk about the VFL. So we'll cover in this show a wee bit about North Melbourne, what's going on with their development, but also a bit of a focus on my baggers because I love my club. And it was a very comprehensive victory. You saw there was a golfing class here at Arden Street. 52 points to the Blues, 98 playing 46. And you did see it was kind of men versus boys. And that's, I don't think any negative to North. You know what North are doing. It was pretty much a plethora of third-year players max playing. I think just looking at the stat sheet, the most senior player there seemed to be, I mean, obviously Aaron Hall was there, very good footballer in his right, but outside of that, it was basically the 3-year players. Some players to take out though. George Wardlaw didn't play a lot of the game, but you saw his class. He played about probably about 2.5 quarters as he works his way back. You saw his ability, particularly around the clutches. Got a lot of clearances, got 6 clearances from his time. And he really showed his big body and he gave the Carlton midfielders something to worry about. Outside of that, guys that stood out, I really did like Charlie Lazzaro. He is a guy that I've talked about quite a bit on this show, but a bit more midfield time for him, and he was really looking to inject that. Some of the draftees did stand out as well. I love Blake Drury. He's one to watch definitely for the North Melbourne fans out there. He is being highly touted by just about every draftee I spoke to last year, just in his work rate and his learning. And you can see already from the snippets of what I've seen of the VFL. I watched last week's North game and I watched this week's, obviously, for this review. You can see he's definitely going places in the terms of he's definitely improved his output. A guy that I do want to talk about, though, is Sam Lawson. Has to be on a list in the mid-season. This kid is a real jet. And since he's chopped his dreadlocks off, you may remember him a couple of years ago in the mid-season draft that Mr. DeLuca went pick 1. He's really got something about him and something that, you know, I could see him going to the Hawthorn fans. I really liked Hamish Free as well. He did the ruck duties with Coleman Jones. Older recruit, 24, big body. I like what I see from him. Real development for them. So these are no mugs. It's got to be said. No mugs. They can play football, the North Juniors. So let's get into the Blue Boys then. So a few takeouts, but let's go straight into it. We'll look at Paddy Dow. Paddy Dow's game, 19 kicks, 13 handballs, 5 tackles, 2 marks, 5 clearances, 2 goals, 2 goal behinds, 9 I-50s. An 8 out of 10 for me, and I really enjoyed Dow's game here. I will caveat again, though, with it was interesting that he definitely has been allocated a different role. Last week, we complained about the focus being on Dow, and he's never playing that role in seniors. He definitely here had a little bit more of an offensive role in mind, which I really like, particularly around the stoppages. He's really added that ability to really be sharp, particularly them 40, 50, forward 50 stoppages. I liked his defensive running in this game as well. Track back hard. This was a more complete Dow performance. And this is a really interesting one because he ain't playing seniors as a mid unless there's a catastrophic injury. You do see it. It's an interesting thing to do with him because I want him to succeed. He's on the list. It's just going to be how you get him in. And I don't think there's an argument, but it was a very solid game and credit to him. He is doing what he needs to do. And this was a really impressive game from Dow. He really did show that he was a class apart of most of his peers who were playing that game. He was aided by this gentleman here, Lockie Fogarty. I like Fog's game again. This is a guy that I think he's just VFL standard. He offers that defensive craft. He kind of plays like that pseudo Ed Kerno role for the juniors. It'd be really important, I think, when Ed does play in VFL, how this looks, because I think you'll start to see whoever plays in that midfield looking at Jack Carroll, should he drop back down there, which I'd imagine he will. I reckon that's really going to benefit him. But the 10 kicks, the 15 handballs, and you can see here, this was more of a provider role here, and I enjoyed this. 4 tackles, 2 marks, 4 clearances, 3 inside 50s, 2 R50s. For a 6 out of 10, it was solid. And these are the kind of players that Carlton need. I wouldn't say on the AFL list. They need them on the VFL list. This is the kind of caliber players. So you've got that very good VFL player, so you can always compare your juniors to. It was a really solid game for him, and you know, he just keeps coming, and he keeps being intent, particularly around the ball as well. Real good defensive intent, very good shepherding to allow Dow to get through in them centre clearances and them clutch situations. So really solid from him. Brody Kemp up next. I love this kid. This was his best game in VFL colours by Flemington for me. 23 kicks, 9 handballs, 3 tackles, 13 marks. Absolutely attacked the ball brilliantly. Went back with the flight of the ball bravely as well. Was a bit of a menace in them defensive clutches as well. They kind of deployed him in that kind of George Hewitt role in the defensive stoppage and tried to get his bigger body there to really enact and put a bit of pressure on the younger midfield in that core. 3 inside 50s, 4 rebound 50s for a 9 out of 10. Very able backup for Mr. Mitch McGovern this. You are seeing the skill set here. He's a class apart, is Brody Kemp. You can see it, and it's about building these blocks now. I need to see this for 3 or 4 more weeks and really put that pressure on. But from a Carlton point of view, we don't know how bad the corky is at the time of recording this. We suspect Mitch McGovern will play next week. But Brody Kemp, credit to you, my friend. You've really you've done the right thing. He's had a great game the week before they go in. Lockie Plowman, the kicking specialist. For a senior side that is starting to generate the world record scores in kickings, as we touched on the review. Interesting that the kicking specialist in the VFL is this guy. And you know what? I don't mind it. 15 kicks, 12 handballs, 1 tackle, 10 marks, 3 inside 50s, 4 rebound 50s, 8 out of 10. What you're seeing from Plowman is a real evolution, which makes me question why we're doing it so late in his career, because we were crying out for someone that would play these 1-2s before we had Sard for a long time. And he's definitely got that more offensive role. Obviously, a lot of them kickings are warped. That stat, I don't want you to all get excited. They did have 10 behind, so 10 opportunities for a kick-in, which he took about 8 of. So important to note, but I do like this higher up the ground from him. And for me, when he used to play that back pocket lockdown role, I think you see the frailties in his game, but he takes the game on, he's doing it, and he's literally at that stage that him and Cowan, you imagine a fighting for the same role in that, and Cowan's offensive flair is more prevalent even at this young stage in his career. But to be fair to Plowman, I love him in the VFL because he is a standard setter for them boys. If whoever's playing in that back line at any point of time, you can get a direct correlation and know what the output is in AFL, which is very exciting for me watching it, to be honest. I don't know if it's exciting for anyone else, but I enjoy it anyway. Harry Lemmy. Tell you what, I like this kid, and I can see why early this time last year, this guy was touted to go top 10, top 15, if it was my count. 7 kicks, 5 handballs, 3 tackles, 6 marks, 1 clearance, 2 goals, 2. 1 inside 50, 1 rebound 50, 4 hit out, 7. He's building nicely as well. You're really seeing it with him as he's playing. He's starting to build. He's starting to get a bit of confidence. The leads are getting better. This was a perfect game for him as well against a more immature North side in the senior listing types things that he could really exhibit and have a bit of fun. And, you know, they're starting to read his leads, which is good because he's got a real strong lead and takes the ball really nice out in front. pretty strong and engages pretty well as well. I really like Harry, and you know what? He's working with two of the best in the business, and you can start to say that should fast track him, if anything, but he's definitely got some solid core to work with. Binzi, my boy, he just gets better and better. 20 kicks, 11 handballs, 4 tackles, 9 marks, showcasing his hard defensive running. 3 clearances, 2 goals, 6 inside 50s, 4 rebound 50s for a 9 out of 10. And with O'Brien doing what he did in the AFL, this guy here put his hand up, and he won't be far away. The longer we can leave it, for me, just because I'm protective of him, would be good, but I'm sure he would disagree and say he's ready now. But real solid attacking flair, takes the game on, good intent around the ball as well, gets his head over the ball, incredibly defensive running as well, really working in that defensive exit, but also in the attacking phase as well. I really like Binzi. He moves smoothly. His running patterns are smart. He knows when to drop inside. He knows when to keep his width. Very mature footballer. And you can see again, him and Blake Drury were talked about a lot by the draftees on these shows when we interviewed him. You can see why. He's a very, very smart cookie, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing for him. Up next, Hudson O'Keefe, the little project player here. 3 kicks, 3 handballs, 2 tackles, 3 marks, 1 goal, and 11 hit-outs. And he did really well pinch hitting, and, you know, he did impress me against Callum Coleman-Jones. That guy's a bit of a beast, has to be said, but he held his own. He's really learning his craft, and you can see why Nick Austin likes this guy, because when he gets into position and they find him, he's a bit deadly in front of the sticks. He's got a nice little kicking action. He's got good understanding. Definitely starting to work hard around the ground. Comes back to defend. Very, very raw at the moment, but you can see like the fundamentals are there, particularly in the hit-out department and the ruck work. He's got a good knowledge of it. And around the ground, he's really got that athletic traits that really do catch the eye. I really like Hudson, and as he's building into it, he's going to be a guy that I'm really keeping an eye on, because it's good that we've got the 2 rucks in here, and you can see why Nick Austin probably poached now and didn't wait to the mid-year draft. John McQuay, my boy, 6 kicks, 9 handballs, 6 marks, 2 rebound 50s. Didn't really have much to do, and he did what he did well. Still, some of them kicks are a bit loose, but I really do like Dom. He's starting to build a nice, solid, firm game now. It looks like down the back is his niche again. It looks like that's where they're playing him. It's going to be an interesting one, this, because time will become a factor. And I do like what he's built there and what layers he is, particularly his versatility. I always think that he's probably 2 years away. I think it depends if Carlton keep him around. I hope they do, because I do think this kid deserves it. And from speaking to him, there's no one I've met who's got a keenness for this. But it's building along nicely. Ground ball game is definitely getting better as well. He's starting to really get that confidence to get in, pick it up, and take off. I really like what I'm seeing from Dom. It's slow build with him, and you can see that he's working incredibly hard. Time will tell if it's hard enough and the output's enough. And we finish with a gentleman that we talk about a lot on this show, Alex Murkoff. 5 kicks, 1 handball, 4 tackles, 2 clearances, 3 inside 50s, 1 rebound 50, 28 hit-outs. 6 out of 10. This is a tough one because his ruck work has got so good, right? And it's starting to get solid. My issue with Alex is he can't go into an AFL game and not do anything around and help the team around the ground. And for a guy that's built like a fridge, he kind of goes missing when there isn't any stoppages. And it's a shame. I really enjoy his stoppage work. He's starting to use his body and throw people around, a bit like Pitternet. But a guy of this size and this caliber should be having 10 marks and should be playing that decoy role down the wing, especially in defensive transition, and taking it. And it's not quite there. It's the around the ground work that's holding him back and not the ruck work. And it's an interesting one with this because his facets and his size and his frame are screaming that it's AFL translatable, right? Because it's hard to believe he's not. The kid is built massive, man. But it's just getting that groundwork going, and he's getting that around the groundwork. And it's going to be interesting because Carlton moved the ball really fluidly in VFL. You can see how they are Audi Carlton senior side. of what they're trying to do. They're looking to take the game on, which they did really well. And this is where I'm expecting him to bob up in defensive transition as that outlet or slot forward and kick some snags. And we're not seeing that yet. But his ruck work, if you're judging him on that, is an 8-9. His work around the ground is a 2. So it makes it a 6. But I do like Murkoff. I do. And I think it's going to be interesting because there's got to be a point where they start looking at that. That is the VFL wrap. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back on later for the Geelong Hawthorn game, Easter Monday clash. I can't wait to do that with you. We've got some real quality guests next week as well. I'm really excited about the two. That'll be the Doggies Port game. Enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. Look after yourself. I'm Pommy and Oz. Make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.